You are listening to Season 2 of The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, the short and often daily podcast in which I chronicle my life and attempt to be a writer by writing daily. Sometimes. Hello, today is Saturday the 11th of October 2025 and you are listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. Sorry I haven't been here the last couple of days. It's been a long time, until recently anyway, that I've just not done a podcast. But I've been feeling tired and not really jet lagged because I haven't flown for almost 2 weeks now. But I've just been feeling a bit weird. So the days that I've been up for it, I've been really up for it. So like 3 days ago when I last did a podcast, I wrote the first draft of chapter 14, like nearly 6,000 words in one go. And then since then, I've really struggled. Yesterday, I read through it a couple of times. Or was it today? See, it's all blurring into one. But today, I have managed to get chapter 14 signed off. So I did a live stream this morning, which I read through it a couple of times, had a couple of natters with some of my regulars on the live stream, so that was nice. And then this afternoon went to another Milton Keynes Writers Group meeting. That was nice. Caught up with someone I haven't seen for a while. We did like 90 minutes in the library and then decanted to the place where we normally meet, which is a cafe in Waterstones in the city centre. That was all very nice. And then I went home. And I've done this live stream in which I read through chapter 14 one more time and then printed it and read through it the final time. And I can proudly say, finally, that chapter 14 is signed off. So it means I've written 11 days, I've written and signed off 11,000 words, which is exactly the right kind of, it's where I need to be to hit 30,000 words for the end of the month. Although I've done nothing for the last sort of 10 or 11 days this month. And I've actually got quite a lot planned for the next few days. So the other thing I will say is I did something a bit out of sequence. So we did a single writing sprint during my during the writing meeting thing that I went to today, and I did get the first 600 or 700 words of chapter 15 written. Obviously they're not signed off and they need a lot more work, but yeah, that's good. And I honestly can't remember if I said this since I can't remember if I've said this on this podcast. I've definitely said it on a live stream, but I can't remember if I've said it on a podcast. But basically, I now know where I need to go to finish this story. So I think I've used the analogy that I kind of knew where it was going. I knew where it needed to finish, but there was a couple of little plot points I hadn't quite figured out in my head. I now have figured them. So if I use the analogy that the route, the path to the final chapter was there, but it was hidden with fog. That fog has now cleared up. The last couple of things I hadn't quite figured out about the story, about how to get to the final endpoint, I've figured it out. So it should be really easy to write. Now, what I haven't done is I haven't written down a detailed breakdown for the rest of the book. There are a few events that need to happen. I've no idea how long it's going to be. I'm hoping, as I've said before, about 120,000 words, but time will tell. It'll be the length it is to complete the story. Am I going to get 30,000 words written this month? I'm sort of on track, but actually I've written most of it in a few days and then had a lot of time where I've either not been sleeping well or haven't, been able to write. Now, the reality is I need to get off my arse a little bit this month. So firstly, I was allowed to I need to hit podcast 260 by the end of this month to be on track for the target I've set myself for the podcasts. That meant I could afford to drop to do 5 days this month without a podcast. Well, this is the sixth podcast of the month, and it's day 11. So I've blown those 5 days. They're gone. So I now have to do a podcast every day this month to hit the podcast target that I've set myself for the end of the month. That's fine. I should do that. And I'm a bit busier now. That's the other thing. The lazy bit of my time off has happened. I'm now a lot busier. So, for example, tomorrow I'm going up to, although we're not visiting the place until Monday, tomorrow I'm going up north, up to Stanley County, Durham, to visit Beamish, which is the place, you might have heard me mention it on the live stream, but basically one of my earlier chapters is set at Beamish, and the reason I want to go is because I definitely want to walk the bits that my characters walk and just make sure things are where I think they are in relation to each other. So it does mean that I should, in theory, I know the layout from the book quite easily, so we should be able to walk out of the chip shop, turn left, go down a little alleyway, and there'll be a church on the left and a row of gardens and houses dead ahead with a bus stop by the church. So it'll be fascinating to see if it actually is what it looks like in my head. The one thing my brain usually fails to take in when I look at stuff on like Google Earth or whatever is the contours. So I'll know the layout, but I won't have taken into consideration the 3D elements, whether something's higher up. Anyway, so that's the plan for the next couple of days. So tomorrow, I'm going to hopefully do some podcasts from some different and interesting places over the next couple of days. That will do me for today, though. Chapter 14 is written, is signed off. I've done 11,000 words so far this month. It's the 11th day. So basically, I've sort of set myself an appropriate pace so far, but the reality is I've only worked a few days and I need to work every day now if I'm going to hit my 30,000 word target. Will I do it? Oh, the tension. You'll just have to tune in the future and find out. Thank you for listening. Take care. Bye-bye. You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. For more information about what I'm writing, go to linktr.ee/Richard Writes, capital R, capital W, where you can find details of my website and social media. I may see you there.